Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Tom Spark, and today we're taking out Onmyoji Arena for iOS, Android, and if you want to emulate it on your PC, BlueStacks. So this is a traditional kind of MOBA type game, pretty similar to League of Legends and how the map plays out. There's turrets, inhibitors, and so on. 5 different heroes with their pretty set role: support, jungle, ADC, mid, and top lane. Now, my favorite thing about this game right off the bat is that the characters are quite interesting. Most of the characters have more abilities than other MOBAs. As you can see, this character right here actually has Q, W, E, and R, as well as a passive trait, which lets him kind of pick up fish to heal himself. A lot of the other characters in the game have a little bit less abilities. As you can see, this guy has, kind of a passive instead of a Q. It says that QWE maybe, or QWR, whatever you want to do. But most characters in this game feel a little bit more complex and involved than some other MOBAs that I've been playing. I think this actually has the best characters from any MOBA on iOS or Android. Not only that, but the heroes actually feel quite balanced. None of the heroes I've played against feel super OP, and the way that the game is balanced, you can't really get one shot or taken down. Additionally, tanks and supports feel a bit more viable than some other games, and they do have their impact being, important to initiate team fights and appeal for your teammates. Another thing I like about this game is that the art design is pretty cool. It feels really polished and clean and pretty sharp, as you could see here. I have it on BlueStacks, but the graphics look to be pretty good, and they hold up, even compared to, some PC games perhaps. But the art style is very consistent, perhaps to a fault, however, leaving some of the skins feeling a little bit, not worth buying, since, they don't change the art style too much, and I feel like the art style does kind of limit the diversity and options here. Some of the skins just feel kind of like recolors or added armor. Additionally, people who aren't a fan of, Japanese design and aesthetic, I might not want to play this game due to their personal bias, against weeb culture. I think this game is still worth a look, though, for someone who's not a fan of, tons of Japanese kind of aesthetic or design. I just found that the charm of the game is quite good, and, even though some of the characters are a little bit characteristic or, just kind of over the top, screaming and these little girl voices, the game still does have appeal, just because some of the characters have so much charms. You saw the guy with the dice, and the fish guy is really cool. You can see the main screen, what it looks like. A lot of the characters just have a lot of charm and polish, and I think that's partly due to a lot of these characters coming over from this, developer's other game called Onmyoji, which is more of like a kind of arena, turn-based kind of battle game. You hear see some of the other mechanics. You could catch up, some currencies and stuff like that. Leading me to my next point is that one thing I do like about this game is that purchasing heroes feels a little bit more fair than some of the other MOBAs on the market. Of course, it's probably a newer MOBA to the market, so they might be a little bit more generous, trying to get people to, actually play the game and get some of these new heroes. Heroes aren't too bad, and the getting gold is pretty decent. It seems like there's kind of like a progression each week that you go through the path and collect gold, but you also get gold from each game. Additionally, there isn't really a paid rune system, so basically the runes in the game are called Onimoto, and you unlock them at level 12, and they're pretty much free to get. You don't have to pay real money to get them, so that's good, creating more of kind of the balanced environment that I was talking about. Overall, this game does feel pretty balanced, and the games don't feel too snowbally. Ironically, I'm playing a character that is getting some pretty good kills here with her snowballs. But, if you're really cocky and you try to 1v5 the team, you are going to die. It is a team game, which is a good thing, I think. But you still can make an impact playing smartly, which is, how you want it to be. So the game's overall design and interface is really well done. It's really just kind of copy and pasted from Arena Valor and some of the other MOBA games. But it's good to see that, we do have some summoner spells and easy to learn abilities and stuff like that. You just kind of hover over the ability and it shows you what it does. So that's real easy. And yeah, you could skip the tutorial. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet, but it just lets you get right into the game and playing. Let's discuss some of the cons now. I think the ping system could use some work. Basically, the way it is, you tap that little exclamation mark in the top right, and you could pick, from danger to go back and stuff like that. But it just feels a little bit clunky, and maybe a different placement could help it a little bit better. I found it a little bit tricky to communicate with my teammates due to that, but, there you go. in terms of the art style, I feel like a lot of the characters do look a bit samey. They're all pretty much just kind of generic humans for the most part. Of course, there are some, fish characters and, smaller kind of midgety type characters. But since the characters are, mostly kind of petite, slender, big boobed females, it can be a little bit tricky kind of telling different people apart. And a lot of the characters do kind of lack maybe some kind of substance in terms of aesthetic. Maybe you want a little bit more diversity, and that's completely understandable. I think that the movesets and abilities of the characters make up for kind of the lack of the aesthetic diversity, but that kind of depends on what you're looking for. I already kind of touched on some of the other things, like the skin's feeling a little bit lackluster, but I do want to kind of mention that sometimes during off-peak hours, the queues for ranked seem to be a bit long. Starting out, I'm only really around bronze tier because that's what it places you in, but I think that this game might not have quite as big a population as some of the other games, maybe like Vainglory or Arena of Valor, but it does have 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store, and it does seem to be quite popular. It's only really around a month old, so the user base probably will have time to build up. But anyways, guys, that's just kind of my general thoughts about Onmyoji Arena. Now, I haven't seen too much videos about this game, but I think it's really worth checking out if you like MOBAs on iOS or Android. Now, I think the core feature of this game that really makes it fun to me is the unique hero designs and the more abilities. This makes it feel more like a real MOBA to me. And in terms of the aesthetic, I kind of grew to like it a little bit more than I thought I would. But maybe if you're not a fan of the Japanese aesthetic, maybe you could give it a shot and you might fall in love with some of the characters and abilities. That also said, if you like Inuyasha and some of these other kind of anime characters, this also could be a game for you to get into. Anyways, guys, I'll see you again on the next video game video.